The look I'm going to be doing today is more of a daytime look. I'm going to start with a little bit of eye cream on the eyes first because the products that I'm going to be using might be too drying, and if it is too drying, it tends to highlight texture on the eyes. The next product I'm going to use is called a Paint Pot, which is a cream to powder eyeshadow. And then choose the color that's more of a flesh tone color so you don't really notice it when it goes on the eyes. I like to use these kinds of bases because they really provide a good barrier for the eyeshadow so it never creases and it stays put all day long. The first eyeshadow I'm going to be using is a loose powder called Naked Pigment. And I tend to use colors that are either one shade lighter or one shade darker than the skin I'm working with, if it's going to be a more natural look that just enhances the features that you were already born with. I've said this before on a lot of my other videos, but it's so important that when you do eyeshadow to keep the eyes open before you start to lay down the colors. The reason why is because I'm creating more of a subtle look and I only want to enhance the features as subtly as possible. So the first thing I do is ask my model to look at me in the eyes so I can map out where I'm going to first put my brush. I usually tend to put my brush as close to the lashes as possible because if I put it any higher, it's probably going to make the eyeshadow end up a lot higher than I intended to. So this is a subtle look, and after I put the crease colors on, I want to blend them in so you don't see where one starts and one stops. So a good trick for that is to use a face powder. So whatever you use to set your foundation, use underneath your eyebrow. Because if I used anything too much lighter, it's going to take the look from a more subtle look to a lot more of a glamorous look. I'm applying eyeliner on the upper waterline only, and the reason for that is because if I applied it on her eyelid, it would make her eyes look smaller because she doesn't have a lot of eyelid space and I need to preserve as much as possible. This trick also helps the eyelashes to look so much thicker and darker too, so it really makes your eye color stand out a lot without having to add too much eyeshadow. If you've never put eyeliner in your upper waterline or your lower waterline, it can be a little bit sensitive. I would suggest starting with your lower waterline so you kind of get used to the feeling. And then after that, move on to the top and just keep practicing at it, and eventually you won't even feel it. I want her eyes to appear slightly wider, and the way I'm going to do that without making it look too dramatic with eyeliner is to use a darker brown eyeshadow that is one shade darker than the color I used in the crease, maybe even 2 shades darker. I always start at the lash line and then slightly blend up, so when she opens her eyes, you can't really see it, but when she looks down, you can see it a lot more. Brushes are equally as important as the colors that you choose, so I chose a flat brush to apply this product because I want a really firm, dense color at the bottom towards the lash line. The fluffier brushes are used to blend and apply less product. When I apply mascara, I like it to look thick and full, so I always start at the root, I wiggle it in, and then I pull it through so it helps to separate the lashes, but also apply a really nice dense amount right at the root of the lashes. I always start with the eyes when I do makeup, and the reason for that is because every time you do the skin first and then you do the eyes, you always have a lot of fallout on the cheeks, and sometimes it's not easy to get off, especially if you're using anything that's got glitter in it. So I am using a foundation by Cover FX, which is called Custom Cover Drops. And that stuff's amazing because it is a 2-in-1. It's a foundation and concealer in one. You can mix it with serum or moisturizer to make just a tint, or you can use it on its own to use as a concealer or to give you more coverage for nighttime or whenever you need it. I know a lot of people that don't like to wear blush because sometimes blush can be a little overpowering. And you know, it's hard to find the right blush that suits you. That's why I recommend a bronzer. Bronzers suit everyone because it just kind of mimics how the sun would hit your skin in a more natural way. It also helps to bring life back into your skin from the foundation because sometimes the foundation can make you look a little bit pale or just not as polished as you might want it to look. For the eyebrows, I'm just going to make them a little bit darker because sometimes when you add powder, foundation, or bronzer, it tends to make them look a little bit lighter. So I'm literally just penciling them in with a color that's the same color as what she's already got. Moving on to the lips, I like to start with a lip primer. I think these are a little underrated because I don't know many people that do use them, but they really help to keep your lipstick on so much longer. They help your lipstick to fade more evenly, they help your lipstick to not bleed into any lines around the lips, and they just overall moisturize your lips as well. The color of lip liner I chose is something more natural, maybe one shade darker than her natural lip tone. And she's got a lot of natural color to her lips. So the color I opted for was something more of a rosy plum. The lipstick I chose is called Spirit by MAC Cosmetics. I think this is just the best all-rounder lipstick, especially for something really nude, natural, that just kind of enhances your lips. I usually don't like to add a gloss on top of the lips, especially because right now matte lipsticks are so in, but because this is such a natural look, a gloss just kind of adds a little bit more glamour back into it. If you wanted to turn this into an evening look, you could add lashes, or if you're comfortable wearing lashes during the day, I mean, a pair of natural lashes is not going to take this over the top. And that's it. I hope you liked it, and thank you for watching.